Happy Football Friday, everyone. And you're probably looking at the screen now going, is that who I think it is? And you are correct. Our first in-studio guest here on PSD, Mr. Alshon Jeffery, Gamecock legend, Super Bowl champion. Alshon, it's so great to have you here.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate y'all having me. I'm honored to be the first guest. I appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We're going to spend a lot of time talking to Alshon. But of course, every Friday during the football season, we talk about our top high school football games. Of course, joined by Teagan Brown in Myrtle Beach, Kevin Bilodeau in Charleston, Carmine Jamay in Greenville. Okay, folks, the hot game here in the Midlands is going to be White Knoll at Irmo. Irmo is number 2 in my Midlands top 10, and this is a quarterfinal in 5A Division II. These two teams met during the regular season when Irmo was ranked number 1. White Knoll was number 10 in my Midlands top 10. And this is going to be some kind of game tonight because in that regular season meeting, Irmo won 14-3. It was a tough defensive game. Now, check this out. Last season, they also played twice, with Irmo winning each game, including in the playoffs. So here is White Knoll head coach Nick Pelham talking about playing in a tough region that includes Dutch Fork as well as Irmo, River Bluff, Lexington, Chapin. Coach Pelham.
Well, I don't think it's just Dutch Fork. I don't think it's just Irmo. I think the other programs that are in our region are tough physical teams. You know, the Lexingtons, the Chapins, in addition to River Bluff, in addition to Irmo, in addition to Dutch Fork, they're all physical teams. They all block, they all tackle. They're all well coached. They all know what they're doing. And so, yes, I do believe it helps us for the playoffs, and it helps us when we get away from teams in our area. They don't know us as well as the teams in our area know us. But I think we can become a little battle hardened. I think they're all physical teams. They're all well coached. If you can make it through our region with a few wins under your belt, you're doing pretty well.
So White Knoll and Irmo, really looking forward to that game tonight. And let's see, we will go now to Charleston. Kevin Bilodeau, what's happening in your part of the woods?
Yeah, really big game of the week tonight here as we've got James Island taking on Stratford in the 5A Division I quarterfinals. Two teams that barely got to this game by the skin of their teeth last week. James Island had to go on the road, take on a Sumter team that was really good this season. They needed double overtime to get that win on the road, but they come out on top. They stay alive. So tonight they go back on the road, and they're taking on a Stratford team that needed a 51-yard Hail Mary as time expired in the fourth quarter last week to just get past River Bluff and advance to this game. So both coaches know their teams had big emotional highs last week in their victories, and they know they have to kind of try to rein them in tonight to get them ready for this quarterfinal matchup.
We got to refocus. We've got a tremendous task at hand. You know, James Island's coming here. Coach McCoy does a great job with those guys over there, and they're having a great season. You know, we're having a good season, like we told our guys. You know, at this time in the playoffs, everybody's good. You know, you're not going to face some slap team. You know, so you got to prepare and execute the best you can. And we, our thought process is we win the game on Friday night through our preparation Monday through Thursday.
You know, I've been to the third round 6 or 7 times, and my seasons have all kind of ended there. So we got to figure out a way to beat Stratford and get that monkey off our back and continue to play forward, move forward. Our program is a up and coming program, one of the best around, I would say. And I think we have an opportunity to be really special. This team we have now can play with anybody in the state. We put on our pants just like anyone else, and we'll be ready to play Friday for sure.
And this is a matchup that features two of the best quarterbacks in the Low Country, if not the entire state. Stratford's Jason Davis already committed to go play at Liberty next year. Meanwhile, Connor Dantzler over at James Island, guy's thrown for 36 touchdowns so far this season. One of the leaders for our Friday Night Lights Player of the Year award later this season. Carmine, what's going on in the Upstate?
Yeah, Kevin, over in the Upstate, big-time matchup between just a second-year school, Mountain View Prep. A little controversy because in their first year, they plucked a lot of talent from the area, including from Broome High School, bringing in Jalen McGill, and then 1 year later, he he goes to join Chapel Bill in Chapel Hill over at North Carolina. So lots of talent here. But let's take a look at this video of what Mountain View Prep brings to the table. They're playing at Powdersville in a matchup between two 10-win teams. And Powdersville's basically been blowing everybody away. But on the other side, you mentioned by the skin of their teeth, that's the same exact thing that Mountain View Prep has done in their last 2 games, winning each of those by 1 point apiece, beating St. Joe's 28-27 2 rounds ago. Last round, beating Crescent 50-49. So Mountain View Prep hoping for some more late game heroics. And here you're seeing in the Upper State Championship last year, losing to Belton Honea-Path. And just a devastating fashion at the end of the game. So hopefully, Teagan, there's another late game finish like we've seen from Mountain View Prep continuing from last season and this season as well in just their second year as a charter school.
Yeah, hopefully, we had a school like that last week. Atlantic Collegiate, this was their very first year in the playoffs, really going to the postseason. They did not make it past last week. But still exciting nonetheless that they finally reached that momentum. Here in the Grand Strand and PD, we've got a couple of matchups we're looking forward to. We've got Somerville heading to Carolina Forest. Of course, Carolina Forest has one of the best running backs in the state with Jaron Fox. We've also got North Augusta heading to South Florence. And then another exciting one is Loris and Newberry. And Rick, I wanted to ask you about this one because this is the battle of undefeated teams. Loris has had a killer season with Moon Gerald under center. So just what do you think of this matchup? Who do you think is going to come out on top here?
Well, Newberry, they passed every test this year. When you reach this far and you're undefeated, you know you're solid in all phases of the game. And they're playing there at Newberry. Great atmosphere. They love their football. So I got to be partial to Newberry, but still should be a very outstanding game. Undefeated teams in the playoffs, you got to love it.
Yeah, I think this is going to be one of the biggest games of the night, Kevin.
Yeah, we also have state championships on the line tonight at the Skeeza level, starting off in 4A, where Northwood Academy looking for their first championship as they take on a Heathwood Hall team that pulled off a huge upset last week, taking out Hammond. Now, Northwood Academy actually has a win over Heathwood Hall earlier this season, looking to keep that going and bring home their first state championship coming up later tonight. Then in the 3A game coming up later tomorrow, we've got Pinewood Prep trying to go for back-to-back state titles at the Skeeza 3A level. They'll take on the Wilson Hall team. They beat in the state finals last year, even though Wilson Hall beat the Panthers in the regular season this year. And at the 1A level, Colleton Prep looking for a state championship tomorrow afternoon as they take on a 10-1 Williamsburg Academy team. Colleton Prep, of course, the alma mater of producer Nick, so I can only expect he'll be in the stands in Orangeburg coming up tomorrow afternoon. That's going to wrap it up for this first segment of Palmetto Sports Daily. We'll be back right after this.
Welcome back to Palmetto Sports Daily, and we have a very special guest, Alshon Jeffery. Alshon, in our first block, when we were looking at all those high school football highlights, did you think back to your days with the Calhoun County Saints?
Yeah, I definitely had a lot of good memories just listening to everyone talk about the sports they covered in the region. I think that some of those schools, when I was coming up, we definitely wanted to play from different areas. It definitely brought back a lot of memories and stuff like that. Just having fun out there and just enjoying South Carolina football.
I have to ask you, you're quite the basketball player too. Did you get any offers to play basketball in college?
I had a few offers. Some of them was like boy football and basketball, but the University of Florida, the team that, when I was in 8th grade, the team that won the back-to-back national championship, I went there that summer to their camp, and they gave me a scholarship that year.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, we got some highlights in the archives with some amazing dunks by you. Now, when you look back at your career at South Carolina and in the NFL, I got to ask you, when you were growing up there in St. Matthews, what kind of dreams did you have?
I always thought about I was going to be in the NBA playing basketball. As you know, you covered me in high school. I was known for more of a basketball player in the area. So I had those aspirations, and just I feel like some of my teammates just always on me, and family members saying that because my older brother Charles, who played football, that they knew that I was going to play football. So I felt like I might as well give it a shot, and then the sky's the limit. Like, I had no aspiration of making it to the NFL. I just wanted to just have some fun.
And when you were at USC, one thing that really used to amaze me, I would see you stay after practice, and sometimes you got the jugs gun there. You were catching passes one-handed, and you did that over and over. And then you get out there on the field during games, you can do the same thing.
I feel like just practicing as much as possible, just being in there, just even when you watching me after practices, me and Jason Bonds used to go to the jugs machines, like wherever it was at inside the weight room. We had a jugs machine. We used to try just to be experimenting. Just I felt like that's what our job was, just catch foot passes, like as many as possible. So it definitely translated and worked out. And I used to have my older brother Charles used to throw the ball hard all the time. It took me like 100 miles per hour, so I had no choice but to catch the ball.
Hey, and it paid off. And let's talk a little bit about your giving back to the community. You had a great event last night here in Columbia. You brought your Calhoun County, the current members of the football team, and along with Hibbett Sports and Nike, all the kids got a personalized equipment bag, a new workout outfit, and $300 for a shopping spree. So how rewarding was that for you to offer that up to the kids?
It's amazing. I feel that just giving back to kids in general they are the future. Just want them to understand that they can dream big, but also just letting them know that I was once in their shoes, and just being inspiring, just some outlet that they can look up to, but also know that I'm here for them, I care for them, and just let my community know that without them, I am nothing as well. Like, that's my responsibility.
Okay, well, it's great to see you giving back, and I'm sure all the kids were excited about it. Now, coming up tomorrow, South Carolina, Senior Day against Coastal Carolina. Are you able to follow the Gamecocks much? Have you been suffering the pain with everyone else in Gamecock Nation?
I have been suffering. I must say I have been suffering. It's been a tough season for me to watch. I feel like we all can attest to that. But overall, I just feel that you can finish the season out on a high note, just take it one game at a time and just look forward to something next year. So it starts with Coastal. So let's just finish it off on a good note and let the chips fall where they may.
Okay, I'm going to ask. Hey, any of you folks got a question you want to ask Alshon? Carmine?
Yeah, I'll ask you, Alshon, because, this Coastal Carolina, I know it's one game at a time. Of course, you won a lot of the big games, including the Super Bowl over Kevin's New England Patriots, which we may or may not get into. I know that's planned at some point. But your thoughts on the Palmetto Bowl upcoming, because, Furman is going to lose to Clemson, and barring anything crazy, the Gamecocks are going to beat Coastal Carolina. But going into this Palmetto Bowl, your thoughts on the rivalry and the emotions that come up, and then this year's matchup as well.
I feel like my thoughts on the rivalry is it's special. This is what makes South Carolina and Clemson special. It's households, bragging rights. Every year is something different. It's new memories created. So I definitely look forward to it. Like, I feel like Clemson and South Carolina, they definitely looking forward to, in general, the season hasn't been going as well for both teams, but this is the one that I feel like matters the most for his bragging rights, for his fan base, his family. Like Rick mentioned, his grandson go to Clemson. So I know that's in his household is different. Like in my household, it's like either South Carolina or Clemson, but we all Carolina fans. So it's definitely always exciting every year. Even though no matter what the record is, I feel like it's always going to be a great game.
Yeah, I mean, obviously Coastal Carolina, the team I cover, heading there to South Carolina this week. And that's also a set of fan bases where there are a lot of people that are Carolina fans. They are Coastal Carolina fans. Just having that fan environment where you do have people that love both teams, just what motivation does that give you as a player down there on the field just to see so much love for both teams?
I feel like just bringing back old, like high school, like y'all was talking about earlier, like memories, like, because the guys who was on the team, most of them either from the Carolinas, and you played against them in high school, or with someone was your teammate, or you got a coaching staff, someone that you know, that's on the staff. I'm just hearing it from your family members about you better beat so and so and y'all better win this game, or just hearing it out in the community. That's the type of thing that just makes it put a little bit more exciting to it. And also, if you didn't get a scholarship from certain schools, that it's more fuel to the fire. Is that get more personal?
All right, that's going to wrap it up for this segment of Palmetto Sports Daily. We'll be back with much more and more conversation with Alshon.
Welcome back into Palmetto Sports Daily, joined by our special guest, Gamecocks, Philadelphia Eagles, and Chicago Bears legend Alshon Jeffery, the star wide receiver. But we're going to talk about Alshon's old rival, the Clemson Tigers, right now, just a couple weeks removed from the Palmetto Bowl. But up first, bowl eligibility that Clemson can get with a win, hosting Furman on Senior Day and Military Appreciation Day. Let's take a look at this video, because this history goes way back to 1896, when these strapping young chaps right here from Clemson played in their first ever game in program history here in Greenville against Furman, and they won 14-6. The legend goes they took the train from Clemson to Furman and beat Furman for the first win in their first game in program history, so that's awesome. A couple other big games in the 2 games played between the current head coaches, Dabo Swinney, of course, and Clay Hendricks. One was the Death Valley debut in 2018 for a young man named Trevor Lawrence, beating Furman, going on to win the Tigers' second national title in 3 years that season. And then in 2022, Furman actually outscored Clemson in the second half, but the Tigers still won comfortably in that matchup. So now the third matchup between these two head coaches, and there's nothing but respect on both sides.
I've got all the respect in the world for Coach Hendricks. I mean, he's as good as it gets. I mean, he's a great football coach. He's a better person, and I've always enjoyed being around him when I've had the opportunity to. You know, they're typical Coach Hendricks team. Tough, physical, well coached.
We got to find a way to give our guys the best challenge, but again, it'll be monumental. But just the experience of it, you know, it helps us in recruiting. But again, we'll come up with a plan and we'll show up, and our kids will go compete.
So I wanted to ask Alshon, because right when he finished, I mean, that 2010 sophomore season with 1,500 receiving yards, 88 catches, 9 touchdowns, averaging 110 receiving yards per game, he was on the way out while Clemson was on the way up in the dynasty that's now become. Alshon, your feelings toward Clemson, being a Gamecocks guy, have they cooled off a little bit, or you still have that same fire for the rivalry?
I still have that same fire for the rivalry, but I will say that some guys from around my area went to Clemson, so I feel like if they not playing against South Carolina, I'll root for them a little bit. So I feel like, and they represent the state of South Carolina as well, so it's bigger than that. So hats off to them. I would say I'm proud of how they turned the table. I would say turned the tables on us, but also they've been representing the state of South Carolina pretty well, like winning national championships and stuff like that. So it's been great just to see how that program has been taking off and doing great things.
There's one thing I want to ask you, Alshon. Lane Kiffin is in the news a lot these days. You know, he's a hot commodity. Okay, now when you were being recruited, let's see, he was at Tennessee?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and there's that story that goes around that one of the pitches he used on you was that if you went to South Carolina, you were going to wind up pumping gas. Did he say that to you?
I would say there's some truth to that, but I wouldn't say that he said it. It was like someone who else was in the room, but it's like he said it.
Okay.
If that makes sense. So it's kind of like he didn't say it, someone else said it, but it's like he said it.
Oh, okay. So he kind of followed up on that, eh? Or
I looked at it like he kind of co-signed it, because it's like you said, and I felt like it shouldn't have been said in general, because I still was a kid. But I'm sure if that's something that he was early on in his coaching career that he wish he could take back as well, or that situation. I just look at it like I'm
Alshon,
from
do you
South
think
Carolina.
about that? Do you think about that every time you're putting gas in your car now?
Nah, but every time I see Kiffin, I do think about that also, though. In general, I just felt like it was just representing the state of South Carolina. I just knew I wasn't going to Tennessee after that comment was made. It's just I just look at everyone as a whole. It don't matter about no sports. I'm from South Carolina, and I just take that very seriously.
So it gave you a little extra juice when you played Tennessee.
I would say they whooped us first. They whooped us that game. They won that game, but I still pull for him. I think he's doing great as a coach, and hats off to him. I'm pretty sure he's probably gonna be leaving Ole Miss soon. But
Well, yeah, he's doing pretty well for himself. Okay, that's going to wrap it up for this segment. We're going to be right back to put the finishing touches on this edition of Palmetto Sports Daily.
Welcome back to Palmetto Sports Daily. It's time for our Locks of the Week, and I am contractually obligated to mention that I am still undefeated in Locks of the Week throughout this entire season, still in first place above everyone else on this show. It's not going to change this week. My Lock of the Week, Texas A&M. They had a really tight one against South Carolina last week, barely pulled it out by the skin of their teeth. I think they might do it again this week when they take on 1-10 Samford team, so I'm taking the Aggies. Teagan?
Oh, my gosh.
I'm going to go with a little bit of a closer matchup with odds here. I'm going to take Marshall over App State. App State has absolutely fallen apart over the last month. Marshall needs one more win for bowl eligibility, so they're motivated. They've got Carlos Del Rio Wilson under center, performing at the top of his collegiate career so far, so I will take the Thundering Herd. Carmine?
Yeah, I'm actually going to, acquiesce to Kevin. I'm going to pick a lock to go Clemson over Furman. I think it's probably like a 40-point spread. But I will say I have had a couple spicy picks, picking Clemson to beat 20th-ranked Louisville and picking Oklahoma to upset the Tide. So, Rick, what do you think?
Well, I just want to point out to Alshon that Kevin, every week, he picks a team that is basically on bed rest. Okay, I'm going with North Carolina State over Florida State. 4.5 points is the spread there. But Florida State, they're just kind of teeter-tottering. And Alshon, it's up to you to bring us home now.
My pick, I would say probably I was indecisive about which game. I think Oklahoma have a tough game this week. So I think if I had to go with a lock pick, I'm going to go with the Georgia over Charlotte. I think Georgia over Charlotte going to be, Georgia got something
That's
to
a
prove.
safe one.
Okay.
Good pick, Alshon. Good pick.
Yeah, I like that. I like that pick.
44.5 point spread. 44.5.
Hey, he wants to come
that's good
on
work,
at the show and have a good pick.
that's the
But
name of the
I want to
game.
point out that Kevin there in Charleston, he's a Patriots fan, and he's been feeling kind of salty about your Super Bowl win. So, what words do you have for him?
Maybe I feel like this year y'all playing pretty well. Drake is doing great. Coaches got them gelling. The team is doing well. It's looking like it could be the Eagles and Patriots again. So who knows? It's looking pretty good. It could line up like that,
And you're picking
I
that
think
game
you
would
could be right. And
It's always go Birds though. But it's looking pretty good. It's looking pretty good though.
that's fine. The good thing, it's going to be me and Alshon at the top of these standings after this week, both undefeated, and it's going to stay that way for the rest of the year. So I'm excited. It's just going to be Kevin and Alshon 1 and 2 in the top of these pick standings.
All right. Well, that's going to wrap it up for this special edition of Palmetto Sports Daily. Alshon, thank you for coming on. Great to have you anytime. So anytime you're in town, we can always find a spot for you.
Thank y'all for having me as the first guest. Happy Thanksgiving to everyone. And I can't wait to do this again. This was fun.
Okay, sounds good. Hey, happy weekend, everyone. Hope your team's a winner.